Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to my Saturday Hodgepodge for this week, my weekly wrap-up of BookTube, bookish things, reading, anything I want to talk about. As you're probably aware if you watch my channel, I don't really shy away from political discussions on my channel. I know not everybody's comfortable with that. But I also know that all of us here, probably on BookTube, are aware of increasing efforts in the United States to ban books, to edit American history, to remove discussions of American racism in the past and present for American schools. And this kind of censorship should be something, I think, for most of us here in the BookTube community that unites us. And so what I want to do is to kind of revive an old tag and make it a tag for 2022, and that is the Read Banned Books tag. So this is Read Banned Books tag 2022. And all you have to do to participate in the Read Banned Books tag 2022 is to kind of highlight or talk about a book that you know is frequently banned or is frequently talked about being banned. And you can find a list of those anywhere with a simple Google search. I'll leave some links to some articles down below that have some newer books on there, but some of the old lists as well. And so I'd just like for as many people as possible to kind of do this tag, just to somewhere make one video, make one of those YouTube shorts. If you don't want to do it on YouTube, you can do it on Instagram or TikTok, and just make some kind of a video in which you say, you know, which you include the hashtag ReadBannedBooks2022, and talk about one book that you know, that you like, that you support, that is on those banned book lists. Not you support being on the banned book list, but which you support, which finds itself on the banned book list. So I decided to choose The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is Toni Morrison's first novel, and it is a remarkable novel in every way, shape, or form. It primarily involves the tragic story of a young African-American girl named Pecola, who is told that she's ugly, is the victim of abuse, both by friends, schoolmates, family members, and experiences real tragedy. And really the subtext of this, and what Pecola wants is to be beautiful, and she thinks that being beautiful, since she's always being called ugly, she thinks that being beautiful would mean having blue eyes. And so she prays and she wishes to have blue eyes. And you know, while there is this tragic story of Pecola at the center of The Bluest Eye, it's also really a story about racism and the way in which racism affects the ideas that young African American people had and have about themselves when compared to standards created by white America, standards which their families were prevented from achieving because of racism and redlining, discrimination, and all kinds of other things that prevented African Americans from achieving those things. And yet, to live in the United States of America and have those things held up as kind of the standard of what being an American was, about what being happy was, about what beauty was, had a really devastating racist effect on African American young people, as is highlighted, and African American communities in general, as is highlighted here in The Bluest Eye. And one of the most, I think, searing parts of the Bluest Eye is its use, repetitive use of lines from the old Dick and Jane stories, which used to be a part of kind of primary school reading about a happy family and kind of a middle-class family, to which Pecola and others were kind of taught was the standard for American happiness, and how those images kind of come back over and over again. This is just a brilliant novel, and the fact it's on the banned book list, frequently on the banned book list, has to do with depictions of sex, with sexual assault, with violence in general, and its depictions of racism in the United States. And it should not be on that list, and from my opinion, no book should be banned. You know, while you certainly have the right as a parent to decide what your kid reads, you don't have the right to decide what my kid reads or any other kid reads. So if you don't want your kid to read The Bluest Eye, tell them not to read it. That doesn't mean you have the authority to tell a school district or school library not to have it on the shelves. Anyway, there you go. There's my contribution and what I want to say about Read Banned Books in 2022. And like I said, I'm kind of turning this into a tag, reviving an old tag that's been out there and gone around several times. I'm going to tag as many people as I possibly can. So many I'm not going to mention all here. I will put them down in the show notes, and I will try to do that thing where it sends a notification to everybody possible so that you get a notification if I've tagged you. And if I haven't tagged you, it's either an oversight on my part or it's I ran out of space in the show notes. So anyway, there's that. In addition to that, I did want to talk about my weekly reading. I did have a really good week of reading this week. If you saw my review on Thursday, you know right at the beginning of this week on Sunday, I finished Percival Everett's The Trees, which was just remarkable. And as I said, I have a full review of that out there. I've also been reading the 1619 Project, started reading that on Monday, and I'm about halfway through. It is a fairly dense read, and for all of its reputation for being historically inaccurate, you need to know, in my opinion, it is not. It does. What it is really isn't a work by one historian or one person. It's a work by several, or by a number of journalists and sociologists and historians looking at the history of African Americans in the United States of America beginning in 1619 and going all the way through today. And so it really is, it is a interconnected series of essays by different authors. Each essay is about 15 to 16 pages each. Some are a little longer, some are shorter, which covers some aspect of the African American experience in the United States. And in some ways, and I don't want to use the term alternative history of the United States because that makes it sound like it's made up, and it's not. But in some ways, what you need to accept is this is looking at American history through a non-white lens. It is specifically looking at American history through the lens of the African American experience. And as such, many of the essays so far that I've read are incredibly powerful and have really great information in them. There aren't a lot of things here, there's specific things, but there's a lot of information here I wasn't aware of. But an awareness of it and reading it all together and seeing how one event stair-steps the other is really powerful. And there is some new information as well. In addition to that, each section of the book, each essay is preceded by a photograph of African American people, almost always looking directly at the camera. It is preceded, that section is also then preceded sometimes by historical kind of blurb, and then some kind of creative work, sometimes a poem, sometimes a little piece of short fiction, historical fiction, that kind of introduces the topic, and I have been finding it to be really, really effective. Not all the essays are equal in quality in terms of writing, but, you know, unlike a lot of times when you have a book by multiple authors, you know, each contributing their own part, you don't have a tremendous fall off, I don't think, in quality between the authors. Anyway, I'm hoping to finish that book by the end of this coming week. Also, I think I might have mentioned I'm participating in a big group read-along led by Cousin over at Always Doing of James Baldwin's The Price of the Ticket. This is collected nonfiction, and we are going to read about 100 pages of his nonfiction for the next 6 weeks. I still have a little bit of my reading to get done. We check in on Sunday, but I love James Baldwin's writing. One of the things, and love James Baldwin's thinking, one of the things I think is just that's occurred to me in reading James Baldwin's nonfiction, which I haven't read a whole lot of before, is how much his nonfiction voice kind of, I think, differs from his fictional voice, and how much more intricate and oftentimes complicated his sentences and ideas are in his nonfiction as compared to his fiction. But this has been really good. I'm looking forward to our first check-in. In addition to that, I've been listening to an audiobook. I think I mentioned to you, I know I mentioned to you, last week or week before that I've kind of gone back to work on a really part-time basis as a reading tutor in a middle school. Kind of 5th and 6th graders is who I'm hoping to tutor in reading, really just teach them some reading skills to, you know, be able to pull and find information in what they're reading and make emphasis and stuff like that. But that means I have about a 25-minute commute each way from my home to where that school is, which gives me 50 minutes in the car. And so I decided to take advantage of that time in the car to listen to an audiobook. And the audiobook I listened to are Instances in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs. This is what we refer to historically as a slave narrative. It is a story about Harriet Jacobs' experience as an enslaved person, as a slave who escaped. And it is harrowing and beautiful and powerful. And Harriet Jacobs is just an amazing person. I had read excerpts from this work before, but never the whole thing. You know, I listened to it on LibriVox, and you know, I talk about LibriVox here all the time. And one of the problems a lot of people have with LibriVox is that the person doing the reading changes, the reader or the narrator changes. In this LibriVox recording, there is one narrator all throughout, and she is excellent. So, you know, if you've never read one of these slave narratives, you've never read, you know, Frederick Douglass, or you've never read Solomon Northrop. Let me encourage you to check out LibriVox, because all those things are in the public domain now. And I thought it was just excellent and moving. And, you know, if you're looking for a heroine, a real-life heroine from this time period, from the time period of slavery in the United States, Harriet Jacobs is a remarkable person, and listening to that audiobook on my drive to work has just been incredibly enriching, and I enjoyed that very much. So anyway, there you go. That's my reading. One of the things that going back to work and dealing with 5th and 6th graders has made me appreciate much more about retirement was the amount of kind of calm, quiet time I had to myself. 5th and 6th graders are not really ever quiet or still. So I've been kind of like looking for calm, still music, and it occurred to me that I think of all the jazz music I've shared in my list in Saturday Hodgepodge, I don't think I've ever really talked about or highlighted the work of Lester Young. Lester Young, really distinct sound as a saxophonist from this kind of time period of jazz in the 40s, 50s, and afterwards. He worked with Billie Holliday. So I thought I would list some songs from Lester Young down below, which are, I think, nice and calm and helping me kind of relax after my new day's work at my job. One would be All of Me, on which Billie Holliday sings and Lester Young plays the saxophone. I Can't Get Started, I think, is my favorite Lester Young recording, and then also have a recording here of Stardust. So I hope you enjoy the Lester Young songs. So there you go, there's my Saturday Hodgepodge for this week. Please do the Read Banned Books 2022 tag and leave that as the hashtag somewhere in the description or in the show notes. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.